morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, it's Dave McRae here. It's 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Broadcasting live from the VoiceMann Studios in Toronto. It is Tuesday, March the 3rd, 2020. And I wanted to talk about when do we think that Halloween Kills trailer is coming? When do we think it's coming? When do you think it's coming? I'm going to tell you when I think it's coming. Of course, it's not really rocket science when you look at the patterns and when you look at certain things. Fascinating. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's episode 25. 25. We are already up to 25 episodes of McRae Live. It is hard to believe. 50 people already watching. People making their way into the room right now. All the McCrazies. You are all my McCrazies now. So I want to talk about Halloween. Halloween, what a shock. What a shock. Let's talk some Halloween. Okay, so of course we know that Halloween Kills had its test screening about a month or so ago. We know that it has test screened a couple of times to certain folks, and we know that a trailer is coming. Now, I know people were losing their minds and thinking that it was going to come at the Super Bowl. I don't know why people thought that, but I know why people thought that, but I don't know why people thought that. And then of course people were thinking it's coming out. The thing that I want to just sort of, and again, it's not. If you're somebody that already knows this, that's great. Then this isn't for you. Okay, but when you have a little channel like this, and when you put yourself out there, and you sort of look across the spectrum of what people are saying about trailers and things like that, there's a lot of people who don't. And again, I'm not saying everybody, but there are a lot of people that really don't know how it works. So I wanted to sort of give a Cliff Notes version of how it kind of works generally. Trailers are, and again, a lot of you already know this, which is great. It's totally awesome. But I'm sure you probably have that friend that doesn't know this, right? So trailers are not like anything in the motion picture industry, because it's a multi-billion, well, it could be trillion. Business essentially. Nothing is arbitrarily just, done. Essentially, there are specific departments dedicated for the sole purpose of marketing. There are agencies and trailer houses that do nothing but cut trailers. That's what they do. And there are sometimes, depending on the movie and depending on the size of the movie, there are multiple trailers that are cut across multiple trailer houses or agencies who are competing with each other to have their trailer be the one that is picked by the studio. And so that's going on. That is going on long before the movie's even done post-production. And again, this depends on the size of the movie and how many versions of a trailer is cut and how many trailer houses or agencies they go to get it all depends. It's not, it does depend on the budget and the size of the film and what the studio wants to do with the movie. Even trailers are test screened. Now, again, that depends on how many test screenings there are, might depend on the budget for the, or the size of the production and things. Things are, it all depends. But more often than not, even trailers are test screened. And they can be test screened for the studios, obviously, because they have to approve it. They can also be test screened to focus groups and to see what lands and what. It's very much like a test screening for a movie, but it's for a trailer. And they do this. The principle is the same. They get the right, demographic in there and all this kind of stuff. And they find out what lands and what doesn't. And they might show you 3 or 4 different trailers from 3 or 4 different competing agencies, right? And you make up the mind which one you like the best, or you like that one from that one, but not from that one, or you like that. What if you combine that with this one? It's a whole thing. Again, all depends, right? But generally, that is what happens. So it's a whole thing behind the scenes. Like, this is not just like somebody, it's not like J.J. Abrams or Rian Johnson or David Gordon Green are cutting their own trailers. They're not doing that. And 9.9 times out of 10, unless your name is Spielberg, and even then, I mean, you know, but unless you are a Spielberg, you know, you get no say what goes into your trailer. You have no fucking say what goes into your trailer. Not at all. And so it's just, these are things to keep in mind, right? It's not arbitrarily done. It's not arbitrarily released. There are specific days of the year, specific times of the year. They watch the patterns. They watch the market. It depends on, you know, there are certain movies that are being released at certain times. They know what trailers are going up against other trailers that are being released at that time. You know what? Let's release our trailer here because of, you know, that they're releasing theirs at that point. But if we release ours there, well, you know what that means? Oh, hang on a sec, because Paramount's releasing that there. Maybe we should, you know what, if we go online first, which is what we're going to do anyway, why don't we go, like, all this shit is happening. It's all like very strategic, planned execution. And sometimes they hit it and sometimes they don't. And so when somebody asks me, when do I think the trailer for Halloween Kills is going to be released, I never thought it was going to be the Super Bowl. First of all, that would cost way too much money, because you have to think about this, right? I think to release, and I stand to be corrected, the chat room can let me know, but I think for a 1 spot or something at the Super Bowl is what, like $5 million or something like that? It's something ridiculous. That's probably at least a quarter of the budget of Halloween Kills. Okay. I mean, Universal's not going to do that. They don't need to do it. They don't have to do it. They're still like 10 months away from, you know, from the release of the movie. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. They don't need to do it. And why would you do that? There are other things they want to promote of higher budgets that are probably going to make them more money potentially. So I was like, no, they're not going to spend $5 million on a 30-second ad for Halloween Kills at the Super Bowl. No. And it didn't happen. I think your best bet is looking at the pattern of what happened with Halloween 2018. Yeah, $5 million for 30 seconds. Yeah, think about that. So if the movie costs $15 million to make, let's say, I mean, think about that, right? That's not good business. Now, let's not forget that when you look at a movie's budget, that's generally their production budget, right? That doesn't include marketing. So, like, for example, The Invisible Man, we know, cost $7 million to make. That's their production budget. That doesn't include marketing. They probably spent at least 2 or 3 times that on marketing. So in order for The Invisible Man to break even, it would probably have to make in and around $35-40 million, give or take. Okay? 7, 14, 21. Yeah, 21, 25, probably about 25, let's say. 25, I was way off on that. 25 is like math, Dave. Come on, math. About 25. And it made 29 million domestic, but 40 million worldwide. So it definitely has made back its production budget, and which we know. And it probably, unless they spent more than that, I don't know. They've probably already broke even opening weekend. Okay. So, I mean, Halloween Kills probably it was more than 7 mil because the first one cost 10. So, and again, that's their production budget. So, you know, you're probably looking at, I would say, Halloween Kills was probably anywhere between, I would say 15 to 20 mil, probably production budget, probably somewhere in there maybe. Budget goes up, salaries go up, right? That would be my guess. For Halloween Kills to break even, you're probably looking at 40-60 million. You know, 40 to 60 million, probably to break even. If the production budget's 20 mil. Because they're probably going to spend about 40 million on marketing once they start cracking that thing out. At least. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So, but they look at all that, right? They look at those patterns, they look at their budgets, they look at what movies are being released, not just by themselves, but by competing studios. They look at what trailers are likely to come out when. They look at what worked for them before. And I think it is likely they're probably going to follow the same sort of pattern. So you're probably looking at a trailer late spring, you know, it would be my guess. And now I could be wrong. They could release one next week. I mean, who knows, right? They could totally surprise us. But that would be my guess. And, you know, Universal, and don't just look at Blumhouse films that are coming out, because Universal is the distributor, and Universal is releasing Candyman in June, okay? Universal's releasing Candyman on, I believe it's the June 12th. Okay, so the Halloween 2018 trailer was released in June of 2018, on June the 8th. Well, Candyman is a Universal film, and it's being released on June the 12th. Now, because of the era we live in, these trailers are going to get released online first. More than likely. More than likely. Because you reach a larger, broader, bigger audience that way. It's not niche. But trailers also get attached to films as well in the theater. And I suspect, because now there is a trailer there is a movie from Blumhouse coming out called Run, Sweetheart, Run. And that's a movie in, when does that come out? On May, I think? The 8th of May. 8th of May. But it's not really, it doesn't feel like, now you could, I mean, it's it says a woman tries to get home alive after her blind date turns violent. So, I mean, it's a romantic thriller, guy chasing his ex or whatever. I mean, you could get a trailer attached to that movie. They might release it in May. I mean, maybe. I don't think that's going to be it. I mean, as of right now, with the information we have right now, and again, this is all subject to change because more information comes down the pipe. Sometimes a few sources that I have reach out to me and say, hey, just want to give you a heads up. That happens. That happened with the 2018 trailer. Somebody gave me a heads up of when it was going to be. They said first week of June. That's what they said. But they wanted me to keep on that. So I did. But I was waiting. Like that whole week, I was like, and then sure enough, it drops on the 8th. Nobody said anything to me yet, but somebody might. And that's entirely possible. But as of right now, with the information that I have and going by what I see, I think it's likely they'll follow the same pattern. You'll probably get, the trailer will probably be attached to Candyman. It seems like the right subgenre. It's a slasher, film for all intents and purposes. It's not the same kind of slasher, but it is, right? Seems likely in and around there. It follows pretty much almost the exact pattern as the 2018 film, June 8th, 2018, June 12th, 2020, and you can release it a couple of days before. If June 12th, what is June 12th anyway? It's when is it? It's probably a Thursday or Friday. June 12th is a Friday, right? Okay, so it's a Friday. So the trailer might release on the 8th, maybe the Monday. Maybe they'll release it on the Monday, right? It'll be up online on the Monday. You know what I mean? And then when you go see Candyman that weekend, it'll also be attached to Candyman because it's a Universal film. And Candyman is being, although it's not a Blumhouse production, Candyman, as I said, is being distributed by Universal. So, it's one of those things where I think it's likely that is in and around probably what. That's probably where we're going to get it. We'll get a poster before that. I think they'll follow the same sort of pattern. We'll get a poster probably around, May again. I think is probably when we'll get our poster. I don't think, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I don't think I don't see anything in the schedule for Blumhouse or the schedule for Universal that would dictate it earlier. It could be earlier, but I would be surprised. I'd be surprised if it was this month. I'd be surprised if it was next month. Wouldn't be surprised if it was May, because we're closing in. And like I said, they do have Run, Sweetheart, Run, but that doesn't really seem like a movie you attach Halloween to. But I mean, who knows? I think it's Candyman. That's my guess right now. And what we're gonna get in it, it's gonna be a full trailer. It'll be the full thing, and 2 minutes long, 2.5 minutes, probably 2 minutes. but it's interesting, and I think it's just there's a lot of things about trailers that I think is just important to keep in mind, you know, when we're thinking about them, and just to remember that, you know, the studios and the production houses and they don't arbitrarily just release these things. Hey, it's October, let's release it in October because that's a good time. Or hey, it's this good. No, it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper than that, and they follow the patterns, they follow the market, and you know, studios have very strategic, like I said, marketing strategies. There's a lot of psychology that goes into it, believe it or not. And they're shaping your little mind, and they're playing games with your mind and mine, whether we realize it or not. That's exactly what they're doing. They look to see what works and what doesn't work, and they go, that person's going to buy it hook, line, and sinker. That demographic's going to buy it. Yep, no problem. No problem. It's a game. I mean, it's marketing. It's marketing. It's marketing. It's the same thing that Coca-Cola does. It's the same thing that Pepsi does. The principle of it, I mean. Obviously, they're very two different, you know, types of marketing, but I mean, it's the same principle. You know, the subliminal messaging is there. The strategic strategies are there. Well, you know what? This is going to have this many people and this many people and there's this many people. Well, you know what? You know, that month is movie month, and you know, we could try, oh, well, you know what? That's going to play at the Sundance Film Festival. But you know, at Cannes, we could really go, it happens all the time. That is what they do, you know, and somebody, I mean, as much as I don't like it, you've often heard me say that I do understand it. The trailer to Halloween 2018, the end of that trailer, which destroys and spoils Vicky's death, you know, I hate it, but I understand why it's there. Probably because it tested well. Probably because somebody somewhere, or a bunch of people somewhere went, that's awesome. That's fucking amazing. Yeah. And the studios are probably like, that's whoa, oh. That's why, you know. Did David Gordon Green see that and go, oh, fuck, what the fuck? Maybe. Or he might have been like, whatever. And is it a great way to end a trailer? Oh, yeah. For pure marketing, it's fantastic. It is fantastic to end a trailer like that. But it's catch-22, right? It's bittersweet. You're like, whoa. But as soon as you see Vicky, now, I mean, you could say, well, the trailer didn't show Michael killing her, so maybe she still survives. Yeah, but what are the odds, right? Well, I mean, we know these kinds of movies. When you watch, and we are, oh, hello. Oh, we're not back. Are we back? Oop. Oh, no. Let me see here. We're not back. Can you guys hear me okay? I think you can hear me, right? Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? You should be able to hear me, but I am frozen on the screen. Just give a yes if you can hear me. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Nobody's saying anything. Ooh. Let's see if this works. Ooh. Can you guys hear me? Wait. Now you can hear me. There, it's okay. I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back. It's all right. Calm your horses. I thought it was just my screen. I'm back. It's fixed. Hey, sometimes those things happen. There was a Wirecast just completely malfunctioned for some strange reason. But I'm back, and it looks like I'm still on the same stream, which is good. That's always good, because that means I don't have to actually... It's Skynet. That's right. Michael Myers says it's Skynet. The damn Skynet. Hey, let me just 1 second here. I want to bring the I want to bring that up a little bit. Oh, that's a little bright. 1 second. I want to bring my okay. Do that. Yeah. Okay. I want to bring myself back to that other screen. Wasn't ready to switch screens yet, man. Oh, wait. There we go. That should do it. There we go. I wanted to bring myself back over here for a moment. So I was just simply saying that before the thing got squashed, before the stream got, it is a bit stormy here today, so that could be it as well. Bit of a storm coming in. Very early, even though it's not spring yet, a very early spring, maybe storm coming in. But I will say this, as I was saying that, it's, did David Gordon Green know? Did he know that was going to happen? No, probably not. Did he like it? Probably not. And like I said, it's not like the end of the trailer to 2018, we knew that she was definitely going to die. But like I said, at the moment that the software here crapped out on us, I was about to say that you generally know how these things go. You know that when you watch a movie like this and you're introduced to the main protagonist, you know that when you're introduced to her two friends, they're going to die. There's a high probability that when you're introduced to girl A, who's clearly the girl next door main protagonist, and her two friends, come along, one's a slut, whatever, right? There's this stereotypical archetypes, right? You generally know she's going to die. She doesn't even have to be a slut. She can just be her friend. She's going to die. That's just how these things go. Now, are there examples of that not happening? Yeah, sure. But generally speaking, that is what happens. So I didn't need to see Vicky murdered at the end of the trailer to know that when that moment happens, she's going to die. She's not escaping it. So like you always hear me say, the trailer let me know when Vicky's going to die, how she's going to die, and where she's going to die. But damn, it's a great way to end a trailer. I actually think the reaction is a bit delayed from the actress who plays Vicky, because she opens the closet door, and you would think that as soon as you open the closet door, there should be like a, you know what I mean? Like you go, oh my God, No, she opens it, and there's a beat, and Michael goes like this with the knife, and then she goes kind of like this, kind of like, I think you would have reacted a bit sooner than that. But anyway, minor details. So, yeah, talking about the trailer, that's my guess. I'm hoping that, but again, this is not up to David Gordon Green. And like I said, trailers do test screenings as well. And depending on the size of there are many, it depends on the size of the movie, right? When we're talking Star Wars or Marvel or DC or something like that, you probably have quite a few competing trailer houses that cut many different trailers. And then all vying to be the one that gets picked. Now, if you are part of the team that cuts a trailer that doesn't get picked, you still get paid, okay? You still get paid. It's not like they're like, oh, sorry. No, that doesn't. No, you still get paid. And you get paid what you would get paid. But everybody wants to be, for pedigree, right? They want to be like, hey, I cut that fucking trailer. Or my team and I cut that trailer. Our department cut that trailer. My company cut that fucking trailer, man. And depending on the size, right? There's a lot of agencies that are competing, and there could be like the trailer you see that ends up being the trailer, again, depending on the movie, is probably not, well, I'd put money on it. It's not the only trailer that was cut. There's probably about 3 or 4 others, maybe, at least probably 2 others, at least, that were cut that may have been better. Maybe there was a Halloween 2018 trailer that didn't end with Vicky. That's probably actually quite likely. Maybe not. Again, I don't know how much money I don't know if Blumhouse just went to one because of the size of the production. They want to keep it small, and or if they went to a bunch. I don't know. But there was probably more than one. I can certainly tell you there was more than one Rise of Skywalker, more than one Force Awakens, more than one Last Jedi, more than one, Joker, more than one, Captain America, more than one, 100%. 100%. And because generally what ends up happening is that they're vying for the like, you have these different production trailer houses that are all vying to be that trailer. And in some cases, they're vying for the extension of the contract, because if the studios like that trailer, then they'll get you to cut not only more trailers for their studios, but more trailers for this trailer campaign. Because a lot of the times there's more than one trailer. There's 2 trailers, or there's 3 trailers, or there's an international trailer. I mean, which means more work. So it's a big thing. It's a business all in and of itself. Part of the marketing, of course. I don't know which trailer house is cutting Halloween Kills. I have no idea. But there's a bunch of them that do it. And it's possible that there could be 2 or 3 of them that are cutting it right now. Right now. And trailers are usually cut before the movie is done, which is often why you sometimes see shots in trailers that are not in the movie. That's not, listen, I know it feels disingenuous, and it feels, we live in the rage. I mean, it's the world we live in now, right? And people love to be outraged. Fucking, they all want to, I want to be validated for my anger. Yeah, okay. But generally speaking, let's move over to the other window now. Yay, there I am. I mean, these trailer houses are, I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something and I forgot what I was going to say. Let's keep rolling anyway. It'll come back to me. But yeah, I mean, oh, right. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, so I know it feels like, people are being slighted, right? When you see something in a trailer that's not in the movie. But that's generally because trailers are cut long before post-production is done. And in a lot of cases, stuff ends up on the cutting room floor. I mean, like I said, there are different trailers that end up on the cutting room floor that you will never see. There might be a better Halloween 2018 trailer out there. There might be. There might be a better everything trailer out. I mean, there could be. Who knows, right? But it's generally because by the time they finish the movie, you're like, oh shit, that didn't end up in the movie. And trailer houses are not arbitrarily cutting what they think is best. I mean, they have a little bit of input, but there are very specific notes coming from the studios of what goes into what they want in the trailer, and more importantly, what they don't want in the trailer. Because, like I said, a lot of the times these movies, again, depending on the size of the film, have trailer campaigns. Right? A campaign is more than one. So they'll roll out the first one on this specific date at this specific time for this specific reason. And they know that in 4 months from now or 3 months from that point, they already know this. They'll be rolling out trailer number 2. And so trailer number 1 has to have a specific set of things in it and a specific set of things not in it, because we want to reveal those things in trailer number 2. It's like telling a mini story, right? Like trailer 1 is like your first act. Trailer 2 is like maybe your second act. You know what I mean? Not entirely, but it's that kind of thing. Like, okay, no, let's not put that in there yet, because that's going to be, let's give them this. Let's let it marinate a bit. Let them soak that in. And then let's hit them in September with that one, because they've had that time to marinate on that. And then you got that. And it happens all the time. So it's a big thing. It's heavily involved. And again, I know that my audience is smart enough to know this. And a lot of you guys already know this, but a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people really don't know how it's done. And because and again, not everybody, of course, but I do see it. I'm sure you see it too, right? Where you'll see people saying things and talking about things. You're like, that's not how the Force works. You know what I mean? You know, that's not how you can. You know, they don't just. There are some people that think that the filmmakers cut their own trailers. Listen, if you're you know, an independent guy like me, yes, because I have nobody breathing down my neck, because I'm, you know, it's my own shit. But if you are working for the studios, no, again, like I said, unless you are Spielberg, you know, which is, he's probably the only name that could have sway. I don't even know if Scorsese could. Like, Spielberg is like film itself, you know what I mean? But anyway, the filmmakers don't cut their own trailers, and there's reasons for it. I mean, they're too emotionally attached to it. They don't necessarily, they wouldn't necessarily have more of that objective view in terms of marketing. Okay, you know, I know you like that. I know that's a really good shot, but for this purpose, I think we should, you know, no, I think we should hang on. I know you really love it, but you know, and I get it, totally get it, 100%. There are things that, you know, when I go to cut little things, I'm like, oh, you know, because I'm emotionally attached to things. Whereas trailer houses aren't, you know, they're generally not. So they can cut more objectively. But there are notes that come down, and things that they can have in it, things they can't have in it for a variety of reasons, and things that they want rolled out at specific times for very specific reasons. So it's a whole operation. It's a whole operation. And, you know, when we think of Halloween Kills, they're not just going to arbitrarily release it because they're ready to go. You know, they're looking at the market in terms of the ebb and flow of the industry. They're looking at what movies are being released when they're releasing their own movies, right? You know, like I said, what other studios are doing. So I think Candyman is your likely bet. I don't think it'll be released just with Candyman. I think it'll probably release before Candyman. Candyman's June 12th. That is a Universal release. It's not a Blumhouse film, but like I said, it's Universal. So I think it's likely that Halloween Kills will be attached to Candyman. But it'll go up on, like, that's the 12th, it's Friday, but we'll see it up online like that week, you know, like the 8th again, you know, the Monday or the Tuesday, the 9th or something like that. And then when you go see Candyman in the theater, you'll be able to see it there too. That's what I think it's going to be. Okay, I could be wrong. Maybe they'll release it before that. I don't know. But if they want to release it like with a film in the theater as well, and not just online, you know, I don't think it's going to come with The Hunt. I really don't. I mean, maybe, you know, you never say never, but I don't think so. If The Hunt comes and goes, which is March 13th, and there's nothing there, then I think I really don't think it's going to be released with Run, Sweetheart, Run in May. I just don't see it. So I think Candyman's your bet on that. That's what I think anyway. I would like to know what you guys think. Yes, comment below and let me know, and comment in the comment section. Let me know. Great to see. Sorry for the hiccup there. If you're watching after the fact, there was a big hiccup. That was Michael Myers cutting my internet line. The fucking bastard. He does that every now and then because he's jealous. He's jealous, folks. He's fucking jealous. Super chat comes in from Intel Wild. Says, Dave, I checked out The Invisible Man on Saturday. It was a slow burn. Good mood and atmosphere. I think you'll like it. Great. Great to hear. I'm always happy to hear about slow burns and slow burns. It's a whole hemorrhoid thing right there, folks. Good night, everybody. Good night. That's good to hear, man. That's good to hear. I always like to hear that. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. DMT Infinity says, Dave, this is off topic. Do you have any advice for someone who's borderline suicidal, who happens to be a striving artist who suffers from depression, anxiety, insecurities, and doesn't want to do either? Well, that's a loaded question, my man. First of all, I think anybody would say this. The most important thing for somebody that is like that is to let them know they're not alone. And that's a very difficult thing because you can be surrounded by lots of people and still feel very alone. One of the greatest, that's not the good way to start that. A quote that I like that I think is very important, talking about relationships, is, you'll often hear people say that, the opposite of love is hate. And that's not true. I mean, it is true in a purest, definition sense, I guess. But the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference. And there's nothing worse than being in a relationship and feeling alone. Even though you're in a relationship, you still feel alone. So clearly having people, you know what I mean? It really is about, you can have a lot of friends and still feel alone. So I think it's whoever you're talking about, I think it's important that they don't feel alone. That you listen to what they have to say, that they feel heard and understood. That's important. And of course, if you can, to get them to seek professional help. I mean, that really is, you can't put the cart before the horse, right? So, you can say, oh, you're so talented and you're so this and you're so that. You should just go out and do this and do this and do this and do this because they want to do all this art. Well, that's great. But there's, you have to attack sort of the root problem before you can even get to that. That'll come. But they need to feel happier and healthier and loved again before they even start to think about doing anything creative, right? So that's what I think would be the first thing, is to deal with that first. And it ain't easy, man. It ain't easy. I wish you the best of luck with whoever you're talking about there. Let me see here. Jonathan Vandersand says, hello from South Africa. Love your videos. South Africa. Amazing. Amazing. What time is it in South Africa there? It's got to be the evening, I guess, or something like that. Stuart Johnson said, who is in charge of the trailer release, Dave, Blumhouse or Universal? Well, ultimately it would be Universal because they are the distributor. So, like for example, if Universal doesn't like Halloween Kills, let's say there was just, I don't know, something horrific in it they didn't like, they can choose not to distribute the movie. Yes, it would be Universal there would be executives at Universal that now that doesn't mean that Blumhouse doesn't get a say or that they don't see it as well and approve it, but they have to also get approval from Universal. Frank Riker says, Dave, had dinner with... One thing I want to add though is that if you have a very good working relationship with the studio who's distributing your film, if you do, sometimes if you have a really good trusting working relationship, sometimes the studio can take your word for it. You know what I mean? Be like, oh, hey, man, if you say you really, okay, let's roll with it. That generally doesn't happen. Usually they want to see it anyway. But sometimes that can happen. But yeah, Universal would definitely have a say. Absolutely. Frank Riker says, Dave, had dinner with Judy Greer yesterday. Hey, Judy, yeah. At an expensive 5-star restaurant and found out that the character dies and kills by lack of motivation. I paid for dinner and left in the middle of it unsatisfied. Frank is joking, by the way, folks. Frank is joking. That is funny. That is funny. Oh, Frank, what would I do without Frank's quips and funny? I love it. I love it. It's awesome. It's awesome. And by the way, Frank, I did get your message on Patreon. Let me reach out to the other mods and see what they have to say, because I think it's really cool. Hashtag Psycho Goat Ferguson says, Dave, would ever want to see a Michael Jason movie? If so, who wins? No, I've said this 1,000 times. I'm not a fan of versus films. It just takes me out of it. I think they're too chintzy and spoofy, and I just don't like them. I just think it's just, I don't know. It takes me out of it. I don't see it. I don't know. I just don't like it. I would much rather them live in their own world. So, and who would win? I have no idea. Whoever you want to win, whoever they say wins. Duke Fleet says, hey, Dave, do you think we'll find out who drives the truck at the end of H18? Yes, I do. And I think it'll be somebody, I don't think it'll be like my concept video. I don't think it'll be like that. I think it'll be somebody just innocuous, somebody completely irrelevant, just some guy, I mean, maybe not. Maybe it'll end up being Tommy Doyle. Maybe it'll end up being Tommy Doyle. In my sequel concept, it was Brackett, but I don't think it's going to be Brackett in the actual film. Jay Walsh says, something a friend of mine and I were discussing. Would love it if they did a callback to 78 with a Michael phone scene. If done correctly, would also make a really cool short teaser trailer. That would be cool. Yeah, I'd be down with that. If it was lit well and it did justice to the original, that would be cool. That would be cool. Of course, today it would probably be a cell phone, smartphone of some sort or whatever, probably. It probably wouldn't be a landline, but it still could be a landline. I mean, people still have them. William Webb says, Dave, although I'm sure next to Halloween movies will be, although I'm sure next to Halloween movies, you forgot the W in two, next to Halloween movies will be damn good, do you feel they might overshadow H18 or all standalone as good in their own right? Well, William, listen, if they overshadow H18, that's good. Unless you think Halloween 2018 is the bee's knees and the greatest, motion picture of all time, and you don't want anything to overshadow it, okay. But, generally speaking, sequels are not as good as the originals. And of course, there's, reasons for it. But I think it would be great if Halloween Kills is better than H18, that's awesome. And if Halloween Ends is better than Halloween Kills and H18, that's awesome. It's only good for Michael. It's good for the character. It's good for the series, the franchise, the genre. I think that's good. But I don't think you could ever really overshadow the 1978 film because it's so far removed from where we are, how we make movies today, how movies are presented today, marketed today, shot today, the pacing of movies today. Halloween will always be its own thing. Like it's so old now that it's its own thing. You know what I mean? So I don't think there's any movie that would ever overshadow it because it's like, if they remade Psycho or did more, would it overshadow the original? No, because Psycho it's has such a specific identity and quality to it's an old movie now. You know what I mean? So I don't think there's anything to worry about there. I really don't. Alex Pankey says, do you feel they might not show too much footage like they did with H18 and maybe we get a short trailer for Halloween Kills? Yeah, I'd be okay with that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think if they do release their trailer with Candyman in June and release it online, a couple of days before, which is, again, based on the information that I see right now, that's my prediction. That could change. It may not be. I mean, that could totally change, but that's what I'm guessing right now. I would be okay, but I think by June it would be a full first trailer. I don't think it'd be much of a teaser, but I'd be okay if it was though. Jason Wiley says, Dave, do you think Kills will be the strongest out of the new trilogy in that they can have more fun in the middle with ends having all the pressure to end it satisfyingly? Yeah, I've talked about this. I've said it. I mean, I do believe that I think Halloween Kills, I have a feeling Halloween Kills is going to be enjoyed by more people. You're always going to get people that are not going to like it, and there's probably going to be things in it that I just do not agree with. But I have a feeling I might enjoy watching Kills more than I did Ends. Because, the chains are off. They're no longer making a sequel to the original. They're making a sequel to their own movie. So we if you want to know what Kills is going to be like, folks, just watch H18. Just imagine that more violent. And, and with other things in there too. Like, I mean, apparently some of the, low-key blue lighting is back. And okay, cool, great. But I mean, in terms of the style, I think it's going to be that more. And okay, so we kind of know what to expect. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. I just have a feeling that I'm going to enjoy it more because I'm like, okay, so this is just what you're doing. Like my hope of, and again, maybe there will be some things in there that I'll be like, oh, that's really good. I want this thing to succeed, man. I really do want it to succeed. I really do. And we'll see. We'll see. Jonathan Ball says, Dave, everyone check out The Kingdom on Netflix. A GOT feel in feudal Korea. or samurai with zombie stories. I'm not a big, that's not really my wheelhouse. I probably wouldn't check that out, but if that interests somebody, by all means, check it out. Nicholas Turner says, hey, Dave, what do you think is going to happen? What would you like to see in the flashback scene in Kills? I don't know. I just don't want them to fuck it up. I just don't want them to create continuity that doesn't make sense. You know, I want it to make sense. And I don't want them to show too much. You know, show enough that it's fun to watch, but don't overdo it. Don't overstay your welcome. That's what I would say with that. Just making sure I didn't miss any super chats. No, it doesn't look like I did. Okay, good. Want to make sure I always get those, folks. It's what do we got? 191 people watching. 11:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, March the 3rd, 2020. I almost said 19. Very fascinating. Aaron Click says, technically, Halloween Ends should be the one with the most at stake. You don't want the series to start coming down until the end, so I hope Ends is really edge of your seat. Well, yes. That is where sort of the ultimate climax is revealed. Like you know, even though this series is a and you know, I've said this too. They're structuring this very much like its own trilogy, you know? And even though the first technically is 1978, so it's a quadrilogy. It's really 4 films, but really it's a trilogy. And so Halloween Kills, when it's all said and done, should anyway feel like a second act. So it probably will be the darkest between the 3 movies. It will probably have the most kills between the 3 movies. We should anyway see somebody die. You know what I mean? Whether that's Doyle or Wallace or Brackett. I mean, you know, you have to, because it's the second chapter. And the second, if you are structuring this kind of like a trilogy and it's all happening in one night, right? You know, it's all happening in one night, according to Nick Castle. So, you know, it's one story, you know, there's no breaks. There's no time to stop and start again. It's literally one story. So this is the second chapter. It's going to be bloodier, more violent, more intense. And I knew that 6 months ago when they released the title of the movie. 7 months ago, whatever it was, last summer. So yeah, I do think, I think dark, and I think it's going to be dark, and it's going to be the darkest for our main characters, our main players. And then Ends will be dark, but you're on the upswing there. You know, the momentum is no longer going down. The momentum is coming up. So no matter how many kills you have in Ends, no matter what you introduce or try to resolve in Ends, you're on an upswing. You're not on a downswing. You don't have the luxury to, you know, go there, you know, because usually that's going to happen in the second chapter. And again, that doesn't mean we're not going to see cool things, but the ultimate resolution should be there, but the stakes really are in the second chapter. And then it's the resolution of those stakes in the third chapter. And again, I'm not saying that there's not going to be death and carnage and Halloween Ends. Yeah, of course there will be. But the second chapter is really when it's like, fuck. I mean, I think that's why they called it Halloween. Oh, there's a number of reasons why I think they called it Halloween Kills. But that's why. It's not, we've taken this and taken it up a notch, you know? That's what I think. Chris Baber sends in a super chat. Thank you, buddy, for supporting the channel. He says, if you were in charge of the initial one-sheet promo poster of H Kills, what would you design? That's a great question. Less is more. I see a lot of cool fan stuff, but a lot of the fan stuff I think there's too much to it. It's cool art, but I think there's just too much to it. I would say, again, it's hard to know because I don't know what's in the movie. And sometimes, you know, poster art will be a reflection of what's sort of maybe, you know, the kind of a moment in the film or something like that. Like the poster for Halloween 2018 really is the side shot of when Michael puts on the mask for the first time. Not, I mean, I'm not saying it actually is. They could have shot that completely in a different studio. But what I'm saying is that when you see Michael, James Jude, put on the mask for the first time, right? It's like this. It's a profile shot. And he's going like this and he puts it on. And then it cuts from there to within the car looking out the back and you see him close the trunk. Well, when he does that, when he puts it on for the first time, you're seeing it like this. It's pretty much the shot on the poster. Pretty much. That's like a moment, right? It's hard to know. But I would still go simple. I like simple posters. I wouldn't go, and I don't think they're going to, because I think this type of horror poster art is long gone, thankfully. When you have, 5 or 6 of the cast members on the poster and they're all like this. And then there's the main protagonist that's like this. You know what I mean? And you got like the mask of, thankfully, I think I spat there. That's what happens when you talk for long periods of time. That, thankfully I fucking can't stand that. It's cheap. Yeah, it's cheap. I get why they did it, but it's chintzy. It's not artistic to me. It's lame. It's really lame. So I want art, if it is going to be involved, which I hope I don't think it will be. Maybe it's painted, hand-drawn. What is that? Or, I mean, obviously these things are done digitally now in Photoshop and programs like it. But that's where I don't want to see anything chintzy, or I don't want to see photographs. Like, I don't want to see, like make it artistic, make it creepy, subtle. Maybe it's just a pumpkin. It's just like a jack-o'-lantern with maybe half, and we've seen fan art like this, but it's the principle of what I'm talking about. Maybe it's a pumpkin with half the pumpkin is maybe Myers' face, or maybe there's pumpkin. It's a jack-o'-lantern. When I say pumpkin, I mean jack-o'-lantern. There's like a pumpkin, jack-o'-lantern, and maybe part of it like is in flames, or something, and just something like that. Simple. Halloween Kills. Like really simple like that. We don't need the fall and the leaves and then the lamppost and then the house in the background and then, Lori over here like this and then, Allison over in the corner like this. Like we don't need any. It's cool art for a t-shirt, but I don't think you need it for the poster. I don't think you need it for the poster. It's not an adventure film starring Chevy Chase. It's a horror movie. So I think that's what I would do, Chris. Something like that. Something small and something like that. Davey Johnson says, "Why are you the man, Dave?" Well, I was born with a penis. I mean, that is why I'm a man. Now, why I'm the man? Well, I mean, that's, if you guys think I'm the man, well, that's up to you. I'm not like LeBron James, who self-proclaims he's the greatest of all time. Who does that? I'm the greatest of all time. No. You don't get to decide if you're the greatest of all time. The fans decide whether you're the greatest, and your numbers. I mean, listen, if he's got the numbers, which he's got amazing numbers, but you don't go around calling yourself the greatest of all time. Wayne Gretzky didn't call himself the great one. Nobody, he didn't call himself, by the way, I'm the great one. He doesn't say that. Fucking LeBron James, man. LeBron James's ego is the size of California. Obi-Wan Kenobi says, "Hello there, Dave." Hello there. The Halloween Movies Twitter account replied to someone saying a trailer is coming soon. I know it's not a specific date, but what did they say? What did they say? They said a trailer is coming soon. Well, yeah, a trailer could be coming soon. Maybe it'll be, and like I said, maybe it will be before Candyman, right? Maybe it will be. Maybe it is attached to The Hunt. Who knows, right? I don't think it will be. But who knows? Who knows? If you see Ryan Turk's Twitter account dropping pumpkins, on the hour, then you'll know that a trailer is coming. And I will be proven wrong that it's not coming with Candyman. But just basing on what I know now, I think Candyman is I think it's still a couple of months away. But who knows? Soon could mean anything, right? Soon could be 2 weeks from now. Soon could be, 2 months from now. Who knows? Interesting. Jesse Campbell says, Elvis called himself the king. Elvis called himself the king. Well, yes and no. There were reporters calling him the king as well. He called himself the king. He called himself the king because people were calling him the king. Do you know what I mean? And to be fair, I mean, he was pretty darn good. He was, the best, at that time, but he never went around, he played into it. He played into the facade and the image, especially after he came back from the army, after the 1968 comeback special. What, Dave? You know about Elvis? I do. I know a lot about Elvis, actually, because my father was a gigantic Elvis fan. And so I grew up on a healthy dose of Elvis. He died August 16th, 1977. He was born January the 8th, 1935. He died when he was 42 years old. Yeah. But yes, yeah. Oh, he referred to himself as the king for sure. Yeah, for sure. Michael Jackson, the king of pop. Yeah, Michael Jackson didn't call himself the king. Again, a lot of these nicknames don't come from the artists themselves. They come from the media. They come from journalists, reporters. It's a word that's mentioned in an article, and then it takes off, and then they, refer to themselves as that because it's taken off. You know what I mean? But that's generally sort of how it kind of happens. Brandon Treat says they are making an Elvis Presley biopic next year. Are they? I've heard nothing about that. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I haven't heard anything about that. Can you provide a link? Because I'd like to see where you heard that. If it was We Got This Covered, then please. The only thing We Got This Covered has covered is dog shit. Jeremy, Dave, if either of these next two Halloween movies end up being really good, is there any chance they may pass Halloween 2 on your ranking? Yeah, there's always a chance. There's always a chance. 100%. Because, like I said, I want movies to be good, man. We all want them to be good. That doesn't mean that I don't sit back and think, I think the probability is low, and I actually don't think the probability is low that Halloween Kills is going to be good. And when I say good, again, I mean, my good might be different than your good. Your good is probably very different than your best friend's good. I mean, there's a spectrum, right? It's not black and white. So, and you have to remember too, that ratings can vary too. Like I gave, and you guys in the States can help me on this. I gave Halloween Kills a C+. Now, remember, I'm in Canada. Okay. Now I haven't been in school in quite a few years, but but up here, an A+ is like 90 to 100%. An A is like 80 to 90. A B is like 70 to 80. And a C, like in the C areas, your C minuses, your pluses, whatever, is like the 60 to 70. And then your Ds are like 50s or whatever. But I know in the States, somebody was like, oh, so you gave it like a 7 out of 10? I was like, I gave it a C+. Yeah, that's like 7.5. I was like, well, that's not what it is here in Canada. So you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was something. I know that the grades vary slightly in where they sort of place. And maybe it's changed. I mean, I haven't been in school in 20 years, so maybe it's changed. But let's just say that I thought Halloween 2018 at best was like a 6 out of 10. You know what I mean? That's what I thought. I should have said 6, but I gave it a C+. A C+. Yeah, C's are satisfactory, so yes, 7 out of 10 here in California. Oh, and it might vary by state. I never thought of that. It might vary from state to state. That's a good point. I wonder if it varies province to province here, because obviously in Canada we don't have states, we have provinces. So I live in Ontario. I wonder if a C in Ontario would be different from a C in, Alberta or BC or, Saskatchewan or something like that. I wonder if it'd be different. I'll have to check that out. But I definitely meant it as a 6, is what I meant it. Like I said, I thought it was a very serviceable, enjoyable, modern day slasher horror movie, but it failed mostly as a Halloween movie. You know what I mean? But there were some Halloween things in it that I thought was okay. But yeah, no, I think, in regards to these next 2 films, yeah, it's entirely possible. Absolutely. I always go in with an open mind. I leave my expectations at the door, and I want the movie to be good, because like I said, making movies is tough, man. It's really hard. I don't want them to fail. I don't want David Gordon Green to fail. I don't want them to fail, man. I want this to be great. I really do. And I'm only hard on Halloween and on certain films. I'm hard because I care. And I'm not saying you don't care if you're not as hard as me. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that is why I'm hard, and it's because I care, and I want things to be really good. Jonathan Sand says it is a 5 out of 10 in South Africa. See? That's what I'm talking about. It can vary, man. Oh, TJ Keller is giving it. A is 90 to 100. B is 80 to 89. C is 70 to 79. D is 60 to 69. F is, that's so fascinating. Yeah, that's not like here. Yeah, because we have A plus and A. And so that's interesting. Fascinating. So you guys thought I gave it a 7 out of 10. No, I didn't. I gave it a 6. Okay, everybody's chiming in now. Well, here it's Spider Rico. How you doing, Spider Rico? Sylvester Stallone. Let me see. Did I miss a super chat? I did. Was that the only one I missed? Yes. Okay, I did. Going back, we got a super chat from Eric Olson. Thank you, buddy. He says, hey, Dave, I just saw Black Christmas for the first time over the weekend. The original, I'm assuming, from 1974. Really enjoyed it. Can't wait for your new fan film. Thank you so much, buddy. Yes. Again, for those of you that may not know, I am in late development. I keep saying late because we are gearing up to launch our IndieGoGo campaign next month. In April, which is really exciting. And so all the help that you guys can contribute would be greatly appreciated. I'm going to be talking to Bruce about this as well. It's not 100% sure, but we may also set up a donation email where you can, if you got $5 or something and you want to donate, you don't really want to contribute to the campaign because maybe you already have. And you're like, well, I don't really want to buy a shirt again, or I don't want to get that again. So I just want to give you $5. Is there any way I can do that? You can obviously do it here on the show. But we also might have a thing where you can, contribute that way as well. I'll talk to him about that because I'm having a production meeting with him tomorrow. We're going over the first round of auditions that are coming in, which is really exciting. So, so it's becoming a reality. Now, again, some people have asked me, okay, so you don't have the production budget yet for the movie, but you're already auditioning. Why are you doing that? Well, here's why. You can do it 2 ways. When there are some IndieGoGo campaigns that will have all their cast and they're looking to raise their, the finances for the film, right? And then there are some that might have partial cast, but they're looking to raise money to finish the movie or start the movie. And then there are some that don't have a cast at all, and they, enter that route once they raise, the money. We decided to do it this way because we feel that if we can lock down at least our main cast, which is essentially 3 people, if we can lock down our mains, then and have them ready for the campaign, then that will only help you guys to help visualize, these characters as who they're going to be, and so that's really exciting, and it makes it more of a reality. It's now like we're dead serious. We're doing this because these actors are locked and loaded and ready to go. Now the actors are, again, they understand that being a part of this film is really, reliant on us raising the budget. But no harm, no foul. I mean, if we don't raise the money and we can't do it, it's not like they're out anything really because, they didn't do any work. So but that's how we're approaching it. I think it will really help the campaign. It'll help you guys. It gives it more credibility and authenticity, and it's really exciting. And so we're going through the first round of auditions that have come in now. And so we'll be doing that tomorrow. I have had people ask me, how do I audition? How do I audition? We're only auditioning professional actors because that's the level of caliber of fan film, this is going to be if we can raise the money. So so I appreciate all the interest, but this isn't that kind of a fan film. It's a high quality a la Never Hike Alone level of fan film, or Dylan's new Nightmare. So it's something we're taking very seriously. We have the resources, obviously, to do it, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited too. It really is an exciting time. The script is fun, and when I say fun, I don't mean Scream fun. I just mean it's fun. Like, it's fun that it's that we're really excited for it, and hopefully we'll be able to launch the campaign. Well, the goal is April, hopefully the beginning of April, but at the latest, maybe the middle of April, but definitely in April. And we'll have a small little teaser to go along with it. Nothing major, doesn't show too much, just a little something to whet your appetite, to get you excited for it. But I mean, we're going to need your help. I mean, if you want this to be a reality, we're definitely going to need your help to make this a reality. Because making films, even short films, it ain't cheap. It ain't cheap. But I am very excited about it. And once the cast is locked, there will be an announcement, and you'll see their headshots and who they are, and if they have social media, maybe you'll be able to follow them. I'm not sure, but obviously we haven't cast yet. We're still going through the auditions, and then once we decide on our leads, we will obviously have a conversation with them and bring them up to speed, and it's exciting. It's an exciting time for sure. Very, very exciting. Jason Wyatt says, is Billy short for William? Well, Bill is short for Will. Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah. William, it's me, Willie. Davey John says, Dave, any new info on Dylan's new Nightmare? When do you begin principal photography? We begin shooting at the end of May. I fly to Phoenix, Arizona on the 25th of May. So the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, that whole week there, we are shooting Dylan's new Nightmare. So I will be and there, no doubt, there will be updates from the set. And I don't know how much of me in the full Freddy makeup and everything Cecil wants to reveal. So I will only be able to reveal what he will allow me to reveal, but that is happening that week. So I'll be in Phoenix along with Miko and Cecil and Vince and Nora and Renee and everybody. We'll be down there and just soaking up the creative energy and just having a ball. It's going to be a lot of hard work, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Let me see here. Jonathan Vandersot says, I did not like the 2019 Black Christmas. The fan film sounds more interesting. Thanks. I didn't like it either. I think they did themselves a disservice. I think they should have called the movie something else. I support, I support artistic creative freedom. And if you want to make a movie that has a political agenda or a political narrative or whatever, you should be allowed to do that. Absolutely. That doesn't mean I agree with it or that I'm going to go see it. But if you want to do that, I'm okay with that. And ironically, I think calling the movie Black Christmas actually went against their film. They did themselves a disservice. They shot themselves in the foot. And I think if they had just called it, Sleigh Girls or whatever, I think it would have been better. I think it would have been better received. Because when you're trying to ride the coattails of an already established mythology and essentially change everything but the season and, but you get rid of Billy. I mean, it was a little unfortunate. But if you want, if you're excited for Billy to come back, then help support our campaign when it's launched. Nerd Report says, Dave, has your liking of Halloween 2018 dropped since you first saw it? Nerd Report, Lewis, my man Lewis. Not really. I just indifferent to it, I guess. I mean, like I saw it at the world premiere. That was the first time I saw it. Then I saw it with you, Lewis, in Hollywood the day before it was actually released. Lewis was kind enough to treat me to a screening at the Chinese in Hollywood. And then that is actually the only 2 times I've seen it from start to finish actually watching the movie. Now, I've seen it 2 other times since, but they've been on live feeds on my channel. So I'm watching it, but I'm also like kind of 70% watching because I'm paying attention to the chat room. I'm commenting, I'm talking. Do you know what I mean? So I've really only seen it, like the last time I saw it from start to finish, really actually watching the movie, taking it all in, was with you. So, I don't know. I'd have to watch it again, I guess, from start to finish and kind of see how I feel. But off the cuff, I don't really feel anything. Striker87 says, did Jess have her baby in your script? I can't say anything. I cannot say anything. The mum's the word, the lips are sealed. You'll have to wait till the movie is released. Let me see here. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Daryl Sean says, Dave, have you ever thought about making a fan film about good old Charlie Bulls? No, I haven't, but you never say never. I actually like the idea. I kind of feel, and this is no disrespect to anybody who's making a Halloween fan film, I still think there is room for the quality of Halloween fan films to reach levels we've never seen before. 100%. And before I decided to do a Black Christmas fan film, I thought about that. I thought about taking Halloween fan films to the next level. I thought about doing that. But I was watching Black Christmas, and there's next to nothing about Black Christmas online. There's no fan film. I mean, there's like one little fan film, but there's nothing, literally. And I just thought, nobody does this. Nobody does a Black Christmas. And there's so much rich mythology, so much rich substance. I'm like, I want to do that. So I talked to Bruce, and he was like, let's do it. Like, but if we're good, we're going to do it. Like, it's like I'm talking, like it's legit. You know what I mean? I think the Halloween fan films are just, and again, I'm not saying that people, but it's very saturated, and it feels like there's a certain level of production value that is realized, which I understand. I mean, making movies ain't cheap, right? Resources. I mean, if you don't work in the industry or if you don't have connections, you don't. Do you know what I mean? I'm very fortunate to have the job that I do, to have the connections I do, to know Bruce, who's my best friend, who works at the largest distributor for theatrical and motion picture and television equipment in Canada, right? Now, we don't get it for free. I'm just saying that there's, you know people who know people who know people. Not everybody has those types of connections. I mean, look at Vince, right? Who's working on Never Hike Alone. He works in the film industry. He knows where to rent the gear, and he knows somebody who knows somebody's got this, and it's, I mean, that's the thing. Like when I watch the behind the scenes of Never Hike Alone, I mean, yes, it's a fan film in the sense that it's not official, but it's a fucking movie. It's a short film, right? It's not, it's about 10 minutes shy of being a feature. But it's a movie. It's a full-on movie. It's they shot on the red, they had a budget of like $40,000, whatever it was. They had, producers and line producers and makeup artists and, locations and jibs and dolly track. And I mean, it's a full on, it's a movie. They're shooting a movie. So what fan films are becoming now, they're fan film in title, I guess, because it's not official. But it's a fully fleshed out film. And the production value's amazing. It's fully realized. And that's where fan films are kind of going now. And if you do have those connections, and not everybody does, but if you do, a lot of filmmakers now are using them, are making sort of these high caliber fan films, which, listen, if a studio wanted to shut something down, they could. But I think studios, as long as you raise under a certain amount and it's a short film, studios generally, I think, are looking sort of the other way. because there's no, and again, if they want to shut it down, they can, but generally I think they're kind of looking the other way now because they realize that, okay, it's not for profit. It's a short film, so it's never going to be mistaken for an actual sequel. And it keeps these properties in the pop culture consciousness. It keeps them relevant. It keeps people talking about them. It keeps people wanting them. I don't pretend to speak for the studios, but I kind of get that vibe, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, fan films are I mean, look at what Vince is doing with Never Hike on the Lawn. That's not it's a fucking movie. You know what I mean? It's a fan film just because it's not official. And the same thing's happening with Dylan's New Nightmare. I mean, I'm not privy to everything, but because I'm Freddy Krueger in the movie, Cecil will fill me in on certain things, and I'm like, fuck, that's gonna be fucking wild. I'm like, are you serious? We're doing that? All right. You know what I mean? Like it's fucking, and they're shooting on the red, you know, and I mean, it's fun. And then of course, you know, what I'm doing with It's Me, Billy, that's the direction we're going, you know? So our goal when you watch the movie is that you enjoy it. Hopefully you enjoy it, but the production value is at a level where you're like, it's just like, I'm just watching a movie. You know what I mean? And that's where sort of fan films are going now, I find. And again, that's but unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, it's more towards the people that have the resources to do that. Unfair? Well, maybe, you know, but that's life. You know, that's just the reality. But I find that, anyways, I'm going on a long tangent here, but I find that Halloween fan films are becoming a little saturated now. There's so many of them, and much of them are sort of, they reach a certain threshold of production quality and they kind of stay there. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't have, you know, the resources close by to rent, or the money to rent dolly track and to shoot on a red, or, you know, or an, you know, an Aria, or an, you know, an Arri Alexa, or an, you know, whatever. I mean, they just don't have that. So, but that's not to take away from the amazing work that these fan films are doing. And some of them are shooting on high quality shit. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, I didn't decide. I went with Black Christmas primarily because the Halloween fan film market, for better, for worse, for incredible, or for shit, is just saturated. And I thought, you know what? Let's do Black Christmas. Anyway, that was long-winded, but you know me, I like to talk. Let me see here. Did I miss any super chats? I want to make sure I didn't. Jack Carter looks like was the last one. I think I answered yours, buddy, right? No, I didn't. Okay, but you were the last one. Let's get Jack Carter in here. Jack Carter sends in a super chat. Thank you, buddy, for supporting the channel. He says, the Myers mask is theatrically symbolic to how Loomis described Myers to Brackett. Why did Aaron in 18 make it seem like there was a mystical connection? I think he probably did that because, again, I mean, and I'm just purely speculating, but in H18, it's very clear that they were trying to kill several birds with one stone, trying to appease and please several different demographics. And I think that although they said full on in a press release that they were going back to the roots in the sense that, you know, Michael's a human being and blah blah blah, they still wanted to keep that aura of mystery there. And I guess that's why he made it seem like there was this mystical connection, which I didn't particularly care for. I think how you create the illusion that there is, you see, what Dr. Loomis was doing was, Dr. Loomis was just complementing what we already know, what we've already seen. You know, like by the time we get to Dr. Loomis's speech in the original film, we've already seen Myers literally dematerialize in front of Laurie's eyes. He's standing amongst the laundry sheets in Mr. Riddle's backyard. Laurie doesn't turn her face. It's not like she goes and looks back and he's gone. No, he literally, now we don't see him dematerialize, but it's a cut, right? He literally vanishes. And I like that because it's done with a cut. It's not done with, we actually see him go and disappear or something, which would have been absolutely ridiculously stupid. But it paints It allows the audience to sort of question Laurie's sanity, you know, and I'm not saying she's completely insane, but Laurie's the psyche of what's happening. Did she actually see that? Was he standing there at all? Or were the laundry sheets? No, he was actually there. I'm just talking about from the perspective of Laurie, the character. Was he actually standing there at all? Or was, because the laundry sheets were blowing and she just saw some weird guy through the classroom window and that same, you know, weird guy again by the hedge, right? By the bush. Is she actually seeing him in Mr. Riddle's backyard? Or is it her imagination playing tricks on her because the laundry sheets are blowing and, you know, that kind of thing? So when she maybe looks a bit harder, she actually doesn't see him. I like that. The there, not there. It's like, that's kind of weird. That's strange. That plays into this supernatural edge that's there, but at no point in time do you see him literally doing anything that would be literally supernatural, like beyond the laws of physics. You don't actually see that. So we know there's something strange about Michael, and Loomis's speech, his monologue, just sort of complements that. But it's not like he goes full-fledged supernatural. There's actually things in there that tell you that lean more towards science. You know, I watched him for 15 years, sitting in a room, staring at a wall, not seeing the wall, looking past the wall, looking for this night. A lot of people take that literally, like that's all he was doing for 15 years is this. It's like, no, I mean, I think what it means is, I mean, obviously he shat, he pissed, he ate, or he'd be dead, you know? So I think what it means is that he didn't do anything. He never spoke, right? He was always just kind of in his room doing nothing. I don't think he was literally for 15 years like this at a wall. You know what I mean? It just, he didn't, I'm sure he walked around, or you could, you know, peek into his room or something and see him kind of just, you know, maybe pacing one afternoon or something. He obviously wasn't literally doing that, but he's emphasizing those things to paint a picture about the emptiness of this person, the coldness of this person, that how there's nothing left. There's no reason, no conscience, no, not even in the rudimentary sense of life or death, good or no understanding, even in the rudimentary sense of life or death, good or evil, right or wrong. That's very important too, right? There's no understanding. He lacks conscience, reason, you know, even in the most basic sense. You know, he's just nothing. He's just blank. He's emotionless. He's nothing, you know, but there's nothing really supernatural. I mean, he's saying he's got the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes, but that's, you know, I mean, that's as supernatural, if you will, as Loomis really gets. And I don't think he literally means he's the devil. He's painting a picture again, right? You know what I mean? That's how I see it. So I like that. It's just complementing sort of what the audience is kind of seeing. It keeps the ambiguity there. And I think that's sort of what Aaron was trying to do in a lot of ways. Let's see here. 49er fan TX says, I hope Michael Myers wears the iconic 1978 mask more than just in the flashbacks, also in the present time. Not a fan of the old worn cracked mask. I disagree. I actually really like the old worn cracked updated mask. Now that's not from Tots. That's an independent mask. I actually like that mask. I think it's the best looking mask we've had since Halloween 2 from 1981. I do. Now, having said that, the only way that they would, because you have to think about, and maybe I'm thinking too much about this, but you got to think about this. Okay, let's say he changes masks. Okay, so that means he goes into a store. How would he, or no, I guess he would find it because the stores would be closed. Because remember, these 3 movies take place in the same night, is what I'm being told. So, well, it's already after 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So where Halloween Kills picks up from Halloween 2018, there would be no time for him to go into a store and get a new one. So he would have to find a non-burned one in somebody's home. And maybe he does. But then that asks the questions, why are there Michael Myers masks around? You know? But then again, you can look at it 2 ways. Would Haddonfield have Michael Myers masks? You know, available, but then you could say, well, you can go to the store and you can buy, I don't know, maybe you could buy Charles Manson mask. I don't know. I know you can buy a Bill Clinton mask and a Donald, Trump mask. Can you buy a serial killer mask? I don't know. Because presumably 40 years on, that mask, that look, that mask right there would be identified with that killer from 1978. So why would that mask be available? Why would somebody have that mask? It's now known as a Michael Myers mask. You know what I mean? In some sort of kind of fun, funky way. So, again, I'm okay with things like that as long as it feels organic. It doesn't feel too on the nose, but I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going, because a lot of the times what filmmakers will do is they will want to leave their mark on something. It's one of the reasons why J.J. Abrams gave C-3PO a red arm. He didn't have to do that. Why? It's pointless. It's unnecessary. But it's not that it's not necessary. It's just you could take it or leave it. But he did that because it's whenever you see C-3PO with a red arm, it's from The Force Awakens. Now, of course, there's that mistake at the end of the movie where he's got his gold arm back, even though they tried to say that, no, he got his gold. No, it was a mistake. But, a lot of times you will see it. So I think David Gordon Green, in some ways, he wouldn't want to change back to the original mask, because then you're losing the identity that you've created. And I think, and I don't think there's any need to. Now, I do think the mask should show some sort of signs of residual effects from the fire, not burned and melted like in that fan film. It was a cool fan film, but not necessarily like that, to that degree. But just some sort of, maybe it's more dark on one side because of the smoke, or something like that. Just something maybe that says that there's something there. But changing the mask altogether, hey man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I don't think it's necessary to do that, but I'm open to the idea. All right, we'll go for a few more minutes here. Let me see. Tiffany Moses Shante says, I miss the OG mask. Hey, I'm right there with you, Tiffany. One of the best, one of the most iconic of all time. David Green. My God, David Green is here. No, he says, Dave, are you a fan of USA Up All Night and Joe Bob Briggs' Monster Vision? I've never heard of it. What is USA Up All Night and Joe Bob Briggs' Monster Vision? Never heard of it. I don't watch a lot of television, though. So if it's something on like sci-fi or TV or something, I may not know about it. I'm not entirely sure. Joseph Jones says, Kyle Richards stated that episodes 2 and 3 of the next season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills will show her leaving for set and some behind-the-scenes stuff when it premieres on Bravo. Slice in Canada. That's right, Slice, yeah. In April. There you go. Well, there you have it. Fascinating. The Real... Oh, Kylie. Jonathan Vander says, are you excited for the new Wrong Turn reboot? Nope. I've only seen the first Wrong Turn movie, and I couldn't care less about any of the others. Let me see here. The Manhammer AR-15 says, Dave, would you like a slasher movie that was more realistic? The investigation similar to Seven and the kills and suspense more. Well, but it's not really slasher then, right? You know what I mean? I mean, it's slasher has a very specific identity to it. And the slasher subgenre, the term slasher really took off after Halloween. Now you can point to movies before Halloween that had, sort of that DNA, like Black Christmas, 1974, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974, Psycho, 1960. There's a couple others too. But certainly it really took off and landed itself into the pop culture after Halloween. And the identity of a slasher is usually some sort of killer stalking teenagers. You know what I mean? And with that usually comes blood, guts, and gore. And if you were to make a movie like Seven's not a slasher, right? The DNA of a slasher is not there. I get what you're saying, but I think if you were to, I don't think it wouldn't be a slasher then. It would be then, you start to go down the subgenre chain into, maybe it's a psychological slasher / horror movie. And it's kind of like, I think if we thought hard enough, we probably already have a few of those. But yeah, that's how I think anyway. Johnny T says, Dave, someone asked earlier if you had the opportunity to create a new slasher, how would you do it? Oh, I don't know. Like there's a lot of I appreciate those types of questions, but they're very hard to, because I care about answering it thoroughly. It's hard to answer if I had the opportunity to create a new slasher, how would I do it? I don't know, because I don't know if the slasher genre is really viable and lucrative right now. Now, I mean, redoing old slashers is, look at Halloween, right? But to create a new slasher, I don't know. Like you've heard me say, the slasher subgenre really at its roots and at its core is a B movie at best. And I think we've evolved in the world of horror. I think horror has matured and is continuing to mature and continuing to gain respect. And my interests don't really lie in the roots of the slasher subject. Listen, I love a good, I don't mind watching a slasher movie, or creating, fan films or, things like that. It's fun. But to tackle a serious slasher, I don't know if I'm interested in doing that. As a 40-year-old guy, I've matured. My interests have matured. My what I want to see from horror has matured. What I think is scary has matured. So I don't know. It's a good question. And even if I did, look at Victor Crowley and Hatchet, right? It's not like the Hatchet series took off and became like, it didn't reach. I mean, listen, if you're into horror, you know about Hatchet, but it's not like Victor Crowley and Hatchet has, reached the highest peaks of the pop culture like Freddy and Jason and Michael have. No, it hasn't. It hasn't. People who love horror know about Hatchet. I could go ask, the average person on the street, hey, you seen Hatchet? They'd be like, what? You know what I mean? If I say, have you seen, Elm Street? They'd be like, oh yeah. You know what I mean? It's just a different time now. The slasher genre, like you've heard me say, at one time, not that there weren't others, but at one time, the slasher genre was horror. It was horror. Now it's really just that subgenre of horror that's an acquired taste. And I think horror is evolving now. So that's just me. Let's see here. We'll go to 12:45. 12:45. So about another 10 minutes. I want to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Robert Kitzmiller did send in a super chat. Robert Kitzmiller sends in a super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, what do you think will be the feel and message to each individual film in this trilogy? Well, I mean, again, I think if you, I don't know, but I think if you want to sort of just play the probability game, I think you would, if the first movie is the introduction of the characters and re-establishing itself, Halloween Kills will be more violent, more gruesome, more deaths, more at stake. I think that one of our main players should die. I don't think Laurie Strode is going to die, but I think either, Tommy or Lindsay or Brackett or Marion or, one of them is going to go. If Laurie doesn't die, I'd be very surprised if none of them do. Very surprised. And then Halloween Kills will be very dark. Halloween Ends will be, still dark, but it will have more of a flavor of the first movie in terms of the intensity and the violence. But maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe they're going to ramp it up even more. But they only have a select amount of time. Like, you don't want to go too far because you do have to resolve things. And you have to, like I said earlier in the show, you're on that upswing. So you can't go too far in the intent because there's a point where you have to start wrapping things up and you have to start answering questions, and you have to start sort of making things feel complete. So that's how I think it's going to kind of feel. Right now, anyway, that's what I think it's going to feel. And you said the message to each individual film. Message, I don't know. You can't kill the boogeyman. I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a message per se. I don't think anyway. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Let me see. Ba-da-da-da. Where? I'm trying to look for somebody I haven't answered before. But it's hard to know. It's hard to know. Here's one. I think I've talked to you before, though. Davion Fowler says, your sequel concept needs to be adapted into a graphic novel or audiobook. It's really good, and you nail practically everything in there. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be down for that. That'd be cool. That'd be cool to do. I don't know if I will do that, but that would be cool, definitely, to do an audio. Like, I would totally do the audiobook version, but the problem is that I can't just do it half-ass. Like, I'd want to have a cast, I'd want to have all the sound effects and the music and the thunder and the lightning, and that takes a lot of time. But maybe I'll do it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll definitely see. Let me see here. Jack Carter says, Dave, could you excuse Warlock's walk as an after effect of being stabbed and shot? He reaps the physical benefits, but something inside keeps him going. Works for continuity. If that makes you feel better, okay. I've never thought of it like that, though. No, I've never thought of it like that. Because he's not walking like he's been injured. No, I don't think so. I wouldn't think that. But hey, if that helps you justify, then all right. Let me see here. Brandon Treat says, Michael Myers in H-18 scared my sister, and she was never afraid of Michael Myers before, but Michael Myers in H-18 scared her very bad. Oh, there you go. There you go, my man. I mean, it's all about that, right? It's all about that. If your sister, we said your sister, right? Yeah, I mean, if she really was scared, I mean, that's really good. That's good. That means they did their job. The Artisan says, Dave McRae, seen Candyman in theaters? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. Let me see here. Looking for something else. Just looking for somebody I've never seen before, but it's great to see familiar faces as well. Corey Dean says, how about a live commentary of the Star Wars movies 1 to 6? You mean all in one shot, like a 12-hour stream? No, I think you mean over time, right? I don't know. It'd be like chewing glass to get through the prequels and eating shit to get through Last Jedi. So I don't know about that. Let me see. Aaron Click says, Dave, with all the recent success with movies like The Witch, Hereditary, A Quiet Place, so you think we're going to get a new entry into the spoof series Scary Movie? God, I hope not. I hope not. Oh, I hope not. I don't think those movies do. They just wear thin. Spoofs are not what they used to be. Like, you want to see real good spoofs. Like, go watch, Spaceballs. Go watch The Naked Gun. Go watch Airplane. You know what I mean? Like, spoofs are not what they used to be, man. And that's my opinion anyway. I don't know. Let's see. Greg Hiller, off topic. How would you handle the Star Trek film franchise? I have no idea. But maybe I'm not the right person to ask because I'm not a Trekkie. And I really enjoyed the 2009 film. And why did I enjoy it? Because it felt more like Star Wars. It was more entertaining. Now, as I've gotten older and I've watched the original series and the next generation, I actually really like the episodes of Star Trek. Now, I've never watched Deep Space Nine or Voyager, and I haven't even watched any of the new ones. But Star Trek, certainly the TNG and the OG, the original series, they definitely were very science-based and about, the human experience and exploration. And I mean, they weren't, it was true science fiction. It wasn't sci-fi fantasy, which is what Star Wars is. So when I saw J.J. Abrams' 2009 remake, I was like, this is amazing. I was entertained. It was Star Trek. I actually didn't mind Into Darkness. I actually didn't like Star Trek Beyond as much as I liked the first two. So you're probably thinking, what the fuck? So I'm maybe not the right guy for it because I really appreciated the entertainment value that came with the Star Trek movies. Now, I'm also somebody that saw, Star Trek Generations in the movie theater. I think I saw Star Trek The last one, I think the TNJ cast did. Insurrection or something like that. I think I saw that in the theater. I also saw The Undiscovered Country in the theater back in like 89, 90 or something. I like Star Trek. I do. But I don't know if I'm the right person because it has a very specific formula, a very specific identity and audience. And I don't know if I'm the right person for that. I think you need somebody in there that knows Star Trek. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to make money. It may not entertain people. You know what I mean? But I can certainly understand why Paramount went the route they did with Star Trek in 2009. I get it. Because Star Trek was dead. It was dead. It was gone. Nobody gave a fuck about it. And so they rebooted it with more of a flavor and more of a Star Trek. You know what I mean? So I get it. But I don't think I'm the right guy for that. Let's see here. Gary Rangel says, can you see Jordan Peele taking his own version of Halloween in his own universe in a new direction? Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And but I hope he doesn't do that. Stuart Johnson says, why is Jamie Lee Curtis portrayed as the main actress when really the main star is James Jude Courtney? He is Michael Myers after all. Well, she's the main protagonist, right? So, and you have to, like, unless you are doing an anti-hero film, which Michael isn't. Michael's not an anti-hero. You have to have a protagonist for him to go up against. And she's the connection to the past. I mean, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Now, if you want a spin-off movie where Michael just goes off and kills people and there is nobody that you just become emotionally attached to Michael, but then you run the risk of having Michael as the anti-hero. And an anti-hero is somebody that you can feel empathy for, maybe even sympathy for. And you don't want that. You know, I don't want that. They tried to do that with the 2013 sequel to the original Texas Chainsaw. They made Leatherface like this anti-hero. And I was like, fuck that. He's a fucking psychotic murderer. Anyway. But it's as simple as that, really, at the end of the day. All right, a couple more minutes. Any super chats? No. Okay, couple more minutes to go, ladies and germs. And then I'll be back. Well, I may have a standalone video, as I often say, but I'll definitely be back Thursday morning on McRae Live. Bruce Phillips. I don't think I've ever seen a Bruce Phillips in here before. Awesome. Says, I really enjoy these live streams, Dave. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you so much, Bruce. I really appreciate that. And thank you for supporting the channel. Vanderhoff 66FU says, I love how people try to get my attention. Dave, see these sirens? Woo, woo, woo. Hey, Dave, in your Freddy voice, can you say from part 2, there is no Jesse, I'm Jesse now? How does he say it? There is no Jesse. I'm Jesse now. DMT Infinity says, Halloween ends plot twist ending. Freddy Krueger appears, kills Michael, breaks the fourth wall to promote Dylan's new nightmare plot twist. Deadpool shows up, kills Freddy, and promotes Dylan's new nightmare. Amazing! Let's do it. I say we do it. That is amazing. Why not do it? I'm down. I'm totally down. Rickman85 says, Rob Zombie did the same thing with Michael in the reboot, making us sympathize with him. I hate it. Yeah, there was a lot of that in there. Yeah, because of how we saw that obviously he grew up with a terrible upbringing. And listen, are there people in this world that grow up in horrific environments? Terrible upbringings and absolutely end up the way they are. Yes. But I actually think there's something to be said about it being even scarier when the child presumably has a normal upbringing. They were loved, they were cared for. They played, baseball. They played with their friends. They went to school. Maybe they even graduated high school. What the fuck? There's something to be said about that. That's really scary, folks. That's really scary. Scott Stevens says they should remake the horror movie Slumber Party Massacre. Yeah, I'd be down for that. Why not? Why the hell not? Let's do that. Mind trick. You'll look at my comment. Mind trick. You'll look at my comment. All right, folks, that's going to do it for me here on episode, what are we, 25? 25. I think we're episode 25. Yeah, 25 of two dudes and some bullshit. My God, I just did two dudes last night. Episode 25 of McRae Live. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for all the super chats and supporting the channel that way. It keeps these shows going, folks. It keeps me scheduling these time slots and going in and around my busy schedule. So I really do appreciate you supporting the channel on that level. And all of the questions, of course, came in. Everybody is welcome, and everybody, well, as long as you're not a dick. I mean, if you're a dick, you'll be tossed out like the sack of shit you are. But if you are, awesome, you are all part of the McCrazies here. And I love all you guys. And thanks for supporting the channel. And thanks for tuning in. And remember, we don't always have to agree. What kind of a world would it be if we did? Not a world I want to live in, folks. Not a world I want to live in. But that is going to do it for me. Like I said, there may be a standalone video that pops up. You never know. But I definitely will be back on Thursday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time on McRae Live. I hope to see you guys there for that as well. So, yeah, have a great rest of your Tuesday. Have a great Wednesday. And I will talk to you guys soon. All righty. Cheers.